The Saints fall to the Cowboys, and suddenly everybody's searching for the best team in the NFL.
How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys at home on a Thursday night? This is the Foxborough Report. It is brought to you by 1 in 100. If you're looking for cheap seats to a Patriots or Celtics game or another event, you've got to check out 1in100.co. They can get you into the building for the price of a pizza or an ice-cold beer. Again, that's 1in100.co for Patriots, Celtics, and other event tickets. All right, so best team in the NFL might be a stretch.
Sure.
I do think it's between a couple of teams right now, but the tiers are somewhat defined. You have the three elite teams in the NFC, and the Rams, the Saints, and we'll call the Bears elite light because they are a good team. But Mitchell Trubisky's they're outside of Mitchell Trubisky is their quarterback. They're up there, and then you have the Patriots and the Chiefs in the AFC. I think after that, the Steelers are no longer in that top category. I don't believe. Would you put the Texans there?
Not yet.
All right. Yeah, I wouldn't either.
And they have it on paper, but we got to see it some more.
Right. We talked about the AFC playoff picture on Wednesday. You can go back and check that out, clnsmedia.com or the CLNS YouTube page. But, you know, in the context of the NFL, the Saints kind of crept into that Super Bowl favorite spot.
Yeah.
You had the Chiefs struggling a couple of games. The Rams are good, but there's still questions based on how they played in the playoffs last year. Is there a best team in the NFL right now?
But, I mean, why does it matter? This is my thing, right? It's like the big J journalists, they all like to go, the talking heads, go on TV, and they crown a team every year. They crown a team at the end of September. They crown a team at the end of October. It's like every 4 weeks we have a new team in the NFL. In September it was the Chiefs, then it became the Rams, then it became the Saints, and then the Patriots are just kind of always waddling along there, right up behind them.
Let me phrase it in. You are right. It's tough to claim that ahead of time.
We do this.
The team with, and I'll throw this in just for giggles, the team with the worst record entering the Super Bowl wins more often than not. The team with the worst record wins more than 50% of the time. But, you know, to all of our fans who are sitting at home and they want to sound smart and they want to use Evan Lazar's words to impress their friends at home and sound like a big brainiac, you know, if they want to say so-and-so is the best team right now, I mean, there are certainly teams that have looked better than the Patriots. But you go back to those elite teams, the Patriots have beaten half of them. They've beaten, if you don't include them themselves, and they did beat themselves against Tennessee, so we can throw them in there too. They beat the Bears, and they beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, I would say that the best team, even though it happened last night, it's a short week on a Thursday night football game on the road. We talked about this. You know, that's kind of a thing, a trend that's starting to happen in the NFL. I still think New Orleans is the most complete team. Why? Because they have a pretty good defense that's very opportunistic and definitely has some star power with, you know, guys like Cam Jordan and Marshawn Lattimore and players like that. And then obviously they have probably the best offense in the league, if not the second best to the Rams or maybe the Chiefs. You can throw in that conversation too. But I think they have the most balance out of any of the teams in the league. Kansas City's defense, I still am not a believer in. Los Angeles' defense, I'm still a little bit skeptical about. That game last night, the Saints defense showed up. It was the offense that didn't show up. And I love that game last night. We finally got some defense.
No, it was the perfect counter to, you know, after Chiefs Rams, everybody's, this is what the NFL should be.
That game last
100-something points.
Was straight out of January.
That game was great.
Game.
You can and you know what? I saw a lot of people on Twitter last night arguing, I like Chiefs Rams, I like Cowboys Saints.
It doesn't matter. You
can like both kind of games. Both were wildly entertaining, minus a couple of officiating mistakes last night. But then again, you had those in the 200
But what I liked
point
about
game.
the way the officials let the game go. They let the game play. They
did.
They let the Dallas cornerbacks actually have a chance against Michael Thomas
It wasn't
and
constant.
those Saints guys, and they let them grab them a little bit. They let them be physical throughout the routes. They weren't calling all that ticky-tack holding and illegal contact penalties that we see nowadays. Call it at every single time.
They may have let it go a little too far. I mean, the Alvin Kamara, Jalen Smith play.
I'm not saying that they had a good night. The officials had a rough night. But my point is that if you don't let defensive backs play the way that they let the Dallas Cowboys defensive backs play last night, then you're going to get Chiefs Rams as a regular
as an alt. But back to the point at hand, best team in the NFL. And again, I don't want to, Saints lose one game and all of a sudden they suck. That's not what we're trying to do. But now you have the Patriots. They're fully healthy for the first time pretty much all year, right? They haven't lost when they've had Sony Michel, Rob Gronkowski, Julian Edelman, and Josh Gordon on the field at the same time. they've got a pretty easy schedule down the back end here. It looks like that they could be setting themselves up for a favorable playoff run.
And that group that you just named, when they're on the field at the same time, the statistics behind that is like off the charts.
I think it's another 13 points a game. It's essentially 2 touchdowns a game from that group.
Yeah.
And it's not them all on or off. It's even if one's missing. But the point I'm trying to get to is this. After the Tennessee game, we wouldn't have thought to put the Patriots in the elite category. We were wondering if they'd get a bye, and we still sort of are. But, you know, it's not so much that it's just one game from the Jets that's changed our minds, but it's them getting healthy. It's seeing what's happened elsewhere around the league. Are the Patriots bad? You know, this happens every year. Every other team regresses to the mean, and the Patriots just kind of motor right through. Is this happening again?
Well, I think the good news for the Patriots is that maybe, just maybe, teams like the Chiefs and the Saints and the Rams peaked a little bit too early, and now the Patriots can use these last 5 games of the season to rev it up and get up to that level, and then they can be the hot team going into the playoffs, when usually the Patriots are the team that is, you know, kicking everybody's butt all season long and, you know, are kind of the
2 of the teams you just mentioned, and I'm going to leave the Saints out of this because they have Drew Brees, they have Sean Payton, they've been there, they've done that. But the Chiefs and Rams, and you throw the Bears in there too, those are young teams. The Rams were good last year, but they haven't really been in this spot.
I wonder how much the Rams...
Do you think youth is catching up?
I wonder how much the Rams learned from last year's playoff loss to the Falcons. I think that's a wait and see type of thing.
We're not going to know in week 12.
In the playoffs. And all year long, and I'm not saying that I disagree necessarily, but all year long we've heard this Chiefs team is different because they have Patrick Mahomes, so they're not going to have the same stench in the playoffs as an Alex Smith, Andy Reid combo, because now Patrick Mahomes elevates them from that, you know, kind of cursed playoff franchise to that next level.
Well, you don't have a clock control quarterback anymore, and when you don't have a clock control quarterback, Andy Reid doesn't have to control the clock.
But let's wait and see, because when it gets, the going gets tough. Let's say there's 2 or 3 minutes left in the game. Patrick Mahomes is essentially a rookie quarterback. We know how Andy Reid manages situational football. Are those 2 guys together going to be able to put together enough of a situational football, you know, close out to a playoff game where they're here at Gillette Stadium or they're at Arrowhead and it's 24-24 against Tom Brady and Bill Belichick? Are they going to be able to close out the game? That still remains to be seen. We know Tom Brady can close out a game. Can Patrick Mahomes
and we might get some chances to see that. I mean, it's not the Patriots in January, but they still have to go to Seattle. They still have to play the Chargers. Those are good teams that they still have to face, and those aren't going to be easy games.
I think the thing that my overarching point here is that all these teams are beatable. I think all year long we get caught up in these teams being invincible, right? Like for a couple of weeks there in September when Patrick Mahomes is throwing like 12 touchdown passes in his first 3 games or whatever it is, it's like nobody can beat the Chiefs. Then nobody can beat the Saints. Then nobody can beat the Rams. And meanwhile, everybody gets beat. No one's undefeated, and anyone in January can get beat at any time.
It's not like the Saints tripped up against the Raiders, right? They played a good team in the Dallas Cowboys, but I think it just goes to prove, and we'll close on this, you know, we knew the Red Sox were going to win the World Series in June. We knew the Warriors were going to win the NBA Finals 3 years ago. The NFL still has more parity than any major league in sports.
It's the best. That's why it's the best, because really when you look at all the teams on both sides, from 1 to 6 right now, the playoff seedings, there's some really good teams, especially in the AFC. I mean, you're going to have a wild card team in probably the Los Angeles Chargers that are probably going to be 12-4, 13-3, 11-5, something like that.
And even the Colts.
Or the Colts, who are one of the hottest teams in the league right now, because they have people in their division that are just a little bit better, and that's going to knock them down. I think that they're beating up on some of the bad teams in the AFC, and the records are a little bit inflated by that for the top teams. But overall, you could have 6 teams in the AFC playoff picture that have 11+ wins. That's not very common, I don't think.
And you could be looking out. We made our picks thanks to ESPN Playoff Machine earlier this week. You can check those out on @Patriots CLNS on Twitter, where all 12 teams in the playoffs have double-digit wins, 10 or more. So we're really looking at a strong playoff schedule this year.
We have a lot of good teams and then a lot of crap teams, and then there's not a lot of middle.
There's not a lot of in the middle. No,
that's what's happening right now.
There's really not much there, but as they say, the cream will always rise to the top. Who do you think is the elite teams in the NFL right now? Who's the best team in the NFL right now? Let us know in the comments down below or on Twitter @PatriotsCLNS. This has been the Foxborough Report. It was brought to you by 1in100. Check them out at 1in100.co. From Gillette Stadium, he's Evan Lazar. I'm Alex Barth. Thanks for watching.